is the time of the year when we get all the most exciting cars that we've driven through the year together in one place. Yes, this is the 10th edition of our track day. Well, two things have remained consistent over the years: the best driver and the best track. And this year we cross 100 cars.
So it seems like we started yesterday, but it's been 10 years now, and a lot of exciting cars we've driven over the years, and likewise today is going to be a special day.
Your favorites over the years?
Well, it has to be the Porsches. Probably the fastest ever production car has been the GT3 911. So I mean, this year we have the mighty GTR back. So let's see if it gives the Porsches a hard time.
Well, Narain's money is on the GTR, is yours too. Let's get right into the action and find out how it does. Before we dive into the action, let's go back a bit and see the leaderboard from the last 10 years. Except for bumping up the tyre pressures a bit, the cars are always absolutely stock. It's an impressive list from big to small, street to special cars, and it's been a fantastic journey. This year is an interesting lineup as well. So let's dive right into the action. Maruti Suzuki's hot hatch, the Baleno RS, had Narain pleasantly surprised, clocking a 2 minute 14.73 seconds. And that's a full 6 seconds faster than its regular version that we tested in 2016.
It's much more thrilling to drive than the normal Baleno. It has a strong engine, mid-range to the red line. It pulls quite nicely, very drivable. It's quite good fun, to be honest. For a front-wheel drive car, it gets sideways and everything else. So and of course the Baleno looks the part. So this little bit of a boost, seems to be quite impressive. They've done a good chassis balance. On the racetrack, it doesn't understeer so much like the other front-wheel drive cars. It's genuinely a fun car to drive.
From the small and sporty, up next was the large and luxurious. The BMW 530d M Sport had Narain impressed with its plushness and straight-line speed. It clocked a 2 minutes 6.25 seconds.
It's a luxury car and really not meant for the racetrack, but if you want to eat up the miles on the highway and get from point A to point B really quickly, this is the car. It has a really strong engine, 0 to 100 in some 5.7 seconds, which is very, very fast. When you go into the sport mode, you can have a bit of fun with it and get the tail out.
Quicker than the BMW was Volkswagen's wolf in sheep's clothing. It may look like a regular Polo, but the smile on Narain's face after the lap assured us that he completely enjoyed the drive.
Of course, the GTI is every bit what I thought it would be on the track. It has a very, very strong engine, so that makes the car very enjoyable to drive. The dynamics are pretty nice. You can't override the stability control completely, and so it doesn't let you to have fun in it. Still very, very quick. To do a 2 minutes 5 on this track is still a very respectable lap time. Tires were a bit rounded on the shoulders, so it didn't give the optimum grip. But for a front-wheel drive car, I think probably the fastest we've ever been in a front-wheel drive car.
Next in line was a surprise entrant on the track, known more for safety than for sport. Volvo made its second appearance over the years on our track day. This time with the S60 Polestar that clocked an impressive 2 minute 1.84 seconds.
The quality of materials, the suede finish on the seats and the steering on the Polestar is quite impressive. I really like it. It gives you a lot of sporty feel. Engine, it seems quite strong. Gearbox is a bit slow on the downshift and so on. Not as quick as the other competitors. The brakes are pretty phenomenal. You have big brakes, big rotors, so the retardation seems quite nice.
Just 0.4 seconds faster in the same 2.01 category was the Mercedes AMG C43. Narain felt the 4MATIC prevented him from clocking a better time.
Yeah, it had a lot of sportiness built into it, the C43. It has a very positive steering, so you can, the initial turn in and the amount of speed you can carry to the apex is quite high compared to the other sedans in this class of cars. Then when the car tries to oversteer, then the 4MATIC comes into effect, which is not very nice. Bottom end is not so strong. It's the mid to red line is quite nice. The understeer aspect of it for an AMG, it's way too much. You have to be a hooligan to get it sideways.
Sharing that 2-minute 1-second space was surprisingly the Porsche Carrera with the flat 6 turbo. Yes, even Narain felt it could have gone much quicker given the performance, but he wasn't able to put all that power down because of a small problem.
The new turbo 3-litre engine for the base Carrera is very, very strong. Fascinating to see how the turbocharged engine has evolved. Very drivable, lot of power low end. You don't feel any lag, turbo lag, none at all. I think we have a problem with this particular car. We couldn't set a lap time because there is something wrong with the rear of the car.
Another AMG brought us into the 2-minute segment, but the SLC43 AMG's handling left Narain unimpressed.
With the roof down, it's a much better car to cruise around. Not a driver's car in my opinion. The tuning of the steering is quite impressive. The fun factor of it is almost non-existent because of the short wheelbase. It just makes the car very skittish to drive.
Breaking the 2-minute barrier and coming in third this year was an iconic car that had everyone surprised. Mustangs are known to be quick in a straight line, but the way it carried its speed around the snaking Sriprembudur track had Narain grinning from year to year.
Mustang is a very iconic car. It has the best style, possibly one of the best styling ever. And it's really impressive. I've never driven a big muscle car, American muscle car before. For a car which is very tail happy and to be getting under 2 minutes in Chennai with considerably less horsepower than the other cars, I think it's pretty impressive. So dynamics is something which is a strong point of this car. It used to be a joke before that it was just go sideways and so on, but the engineering team have come up with something solid, and I think it's a very, very good package. Plus, I think for a car which is 65 lakhs ex-showroom, I think the value is quite high, and the way it looks and everything else, very, very impressive car. The brakes are very good for a car which is this heavy. It has a lot of retardation built into it, and it's pretty grabby, and which is quite good. And on the straights as well, it's not so slow. We were just a little bit shy of 180k down the straight here, so it's not too bad. What is impressive is the amount of lateral G's it pulls.
Taking the second spot was Audi's performance version of the RS7. Its speed down the straight was what pleased Narain most.
Dynamically, it's a lot better than the previous generation RS7. It's around a second and a half faster on the racetrack, which is quite a lot. On the straight, this car is very, very fast, and it has 500 horsepower plus. It easily handles the Indian conditions at extreme heat.
Taking the top spot on the leaderboard was none other than Godzilla, but this new version seemed to be a little tamer than its predecessor. With a 1 minute 53.56 seconds, it was a second and a half slower than its earlier version.
here we are with the GTR. Obviously it's the fastest car of the day, but not so mighty as it used to be, I think, because it's a little bit slower than the previous generation car which we drove here in 2010. So the handling characteristics of the car, if you take it to compare it with the previous generation GTR, is a bit more soft. Because of that, it doesn't put out so much of G-forces, which means it has less grip. That it reflects directly onto the lap time. Still, it is the quickest car of the day, and it's still a very well packaged car. I think. Having said that, it still has a lot going for it with the phenomenally strong engine and the electronics it has and everything else. I mean, it's a legendary car at the end of the day, and it still has a lot going for it, I say. So another factor which could be playing for the poor lap times is probably the tires. The condition of the tire is not at its best. They did send us a new set of tires, but we couldn't get them fixed on time.
Now, stock cars are great, but we always like to bring in a few surprises, and this year we had not one but two. First up, Volkswagen's Ameo Cup car that did a remarkably quick 1 minute 56.69 seconds around the track. To put it into perspective, that's 10 seconds faster than even the GTI. Volkswagen's engineers have done a great job with this car, and even Narain thought so.
Yeah, obviously this is a complete race car with all the roll cage, and the car is much more stiffer and dynamically it's a complete race car. So of course it uses the same powertrain as a GTI, the 1.8 liter engine, and it produces in excess of 200 horsepower. So combined with all these factors and slick racing tires from MRF, I think it is significantly faster. Yeah, the sequential box, the slick tires combined with the stiff suspension makes it fun to drive, and it's very safe. Obviously, they built it. They put a lot of understeer into the car for the young drivers, I would imagine, and on cold tires, it's a lot more fun. It's nice. It's the young drivers would learn a lot out of these cars in terms of racing and so on. So. Yeah, excellent package.
And finally, it was the Porsche GT3 RS. Doing 199 kilometers down the straight, it shattered the lap record on the first go.
I went out in the GT3 RS. I did a out lap. And the first flying lap was a sub 1 minute 50. So phenomenal, it's just, I could have, you keep driving this car, you can find more and more time for sure. But, that wasn't the purpose, but we've set a new lap record for a production car. So yes, as always, I'm a huge fan of Porsches, and it's meant for the track, this car. It's absolutely brilliant. I think it's a bit of everything, and you'd be surprised. You can feel the downforce on the car. So these special vents on the front and the big rear wing gives it a lot of downforce. So you carry a lot more speed into the corners and out of it as well. And the brakes are phenomenal. The way the engine delivers the power. Everything, and to match it we have a fantastic gearbox.